In this module, we will learn the inputs, tools and techniques, and outputs of the Estimate Activity Durations process. Estimate activity durations is the process of making educated guesses of the time it will take to complete project activities based on scope, resource assignments, and resource availability. Typically, the opinions of those performing the work will need to be consulted for estimation. This process can have a strong overlap with project risk management and requires progressive elaboration to refine estimates as more information becomes available about the project. The PMBOK guide defines several key inputs to the Estimate Activity Durations process. The Schedule Management Plan describes how this process will be performed. This may include the tools and techniques to be used and the frequency of iteration. The Scope Baseline provides a narrative description of the work that will be performed in each of the activities. The activity list and activity attributes provide the level of detail required to estimate activity durations for the schedule activities of the project. The activity resource requirements and resource breakdown structure will be needed since the duration of an activity will vary based on the skill sets of the resources that will be performing the work. Resource calendars document the working days and non-working days for project resources. This information will be determined as a result of the acquire resources and conduct procurements processes. Estimating durations may be performed before resource calendars are known, then refined once the team is assembled. The risk register may contain risks regarding the amount of time it will take to complete an activity. Therefore, estimating durations should be revisited alongside the risk planning processes. Enterprise environmental factors can be an input, including stakeholder culture and the organization's existing infrastructure and tools. Finally, organizational process assets may contribute historical data, lessons learned, or provide organizational policies and guidelines for estimating durations. There are 6 tools and techniques defined for the Estimate Activity Durations process. Analogous estimating is the use of taking actual data from a similar project and using it as the estimate for the current project. For example, if it took 3 days to complete framing on the last project, it will probably take 3 days this time. Parametric estimating is the use of a mathematical equation to estimate the duration of an activity based on a known quantity and rate. For example, if it takes 2 days to paint a 5,000 square foot room, a 10,000 square foot room may take 4 days. 3-point estimating is the use of averaging 3 different estimates, most likely, optimistic, and pessimistic, to estimate the duration of a project activity. We will discuss 3-point estimating in more detail in the next module, which provides a math exercise. Reserve analysis is a technique used to counteract risk by adding a buffer into the duration estimate. In this process, contingency reserve can be added at the activity level based on an identified risk. For example, if we know that the chance of rain might increase the duration of work, we may add a little extra into the duration estimate in case this event occurs. To round out our tools and techniques, expert judgment and decision-making techniques and meetings may be used. These tools include the collaboration of subject matter experts with experience doing the work to improve accuracy and reach a conclusion on duration estimates. Estimating durations can be a difficult process, since various team members may have different motives in how liberal they are with their estimates. It is useful to consider Parkinson's law, which states that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. For example, imagine a developer estimates the time needed to complete a task at 3 to 5 days. The project manager allows 5 days on the schedule since there could be some problems along the way. Even if the developer does not run into an issue, they may still take 5 days perfecting their work by making it faster, look nicer, or adding features. However, the deliverable after 3 days of work would have been sufficient. This could be an example of gold plating, which is not desired in project management. To help avoid the negative consequences of Parkinson's law, more aggressive duration estimates can be made, challenging the resource to complete work as soon as possible. There are two outputs of the estimate activity durations process. Activity duration estimates are numerical assessments of how long each project activity is expected to take from start to completion. The basis of estimates is documentation stating how the estimates were generated, assumptions, constraints, and anticipated variances. Project document updates can include activity attributes, the WBS dictionary, or the assumptions log. Since this process involves guessing, it is important to document assumptions and constraints involved in the estimates. Estimate activity durations is the process of making educated guesses of the time it will take to complete project activities based on scope, resource assignments, and resource availability. Typically, the opinions of those performing the work will need to be consulted for estimation. This process can have a strong overlap with project risk management and requires progressive elaboration to refine estimates as more information becomes available about the project.